This week on Deep Space Pride, we chat about the final two episodes of Strange New World Season 2, Subspace Rhapsody and Hegemony, as well as doing some catching up. Thanks for joining us. Mike, happy Sunday. How are you?
Hey, Johnson. I am well. How are you?
Good. Did you work today? Did you have to?
I did work a little bit today, yes.
So you are kind of maybe migrating to a Sunday to Thursday schedule.
Yes, that is.
Is that approved, or is that
it is approved? It is approved, but it's on a trial basis per my preference. So I don't necessarily.
Oh, so it's up to you.
Yeah. It's completely.
They don't really care.
No, they don't.
Oh.
Yeah. So they think it'll be helpful for me to be there on Sundays, and I don't disagree, but I am reluctant to commit to 100% of Sundays.
Well, because if that happens, then you're going to get the Saturday scaries, not the Sunday scaries. It's all going to be different.
Yeah. I mean, I haven't had scaries recently, so that's fine. But
Okay.
yeah, no, there's a lot going on, moving this, our studio and control room and everything. So,
right.
Yeah, it's been good though. But yeah, I'm reluctant to give up my Saturday, Sunday weekends, but it makes a lot of sense for a lot of reasons. But I ended up working on Friday for like 4 or 5 hours, which was unfortunate and very frustrating. But anyway,
got it. Because I can see a world where you end up working a little bit of Friday anyway, and then a little bit of Sunday anyway.
Yeah, which is not a world I want to live in. I want to be off. So
right.
But so that's why we'll try it out and see how things kind of roll out. But how was your Sunday?
Sunday was good. I had church. I saw some friends, and now I'm here. Mm-hmm. And then I have a Zoom date later.
Yes.
I've been kind of chatting with this guy that, of all places, lives in LA, my least favorite city in the United States. Not to offend any of our listeners that live in LA, obviously. LA is just not my personal favorite place to be. So,
you're a hardcore New Yorker. Like you,
I am a hardcore
you've lived here your whole life. You will die here.
Yes.
You don't want to leave. You are grumpy when you have to leave.
Exactly. Well, it's funny because I had brunch with a friend yesterday, and we had brunch around Midtown, and then we just walked around, and we just walked to get ice cream, we walked to get coffee, and you can't do that in LA. It was very spontaneous. We just let's go and get some ice cream. Let's go and get some coffee. Let's walk around, spend some time just chatting and strolling. That's just not an LA lifestyle. You need to plan ahead. If we're going to go to this restaurant and want to get coffee or ice cream, we need to plan it out. Otherwise, it's not going to happen. You can't just, there are some strip malls and stuff like that you can do that at, sure, but it's not as spontaneous. You can't operate as spontaneously. And that's something that I would struggle with. Being in LA, I think.
Yeah, I definitely understand that. I would struggle more with having to be in the car all the time.
Oh yeah, well I can't drive, so I'd just be dead on the sidewalk.
Yeah, right. But so I really enjoy walking.
I don't like walking, as you know, but I like the option. I like that. It is. It's true. Because in LA, it's let's walk there. It's I'm gonna walk by the highway. To get there, it's not gonna work.
Right?
It just doesn't work. Yeah. So, that was one thing I was I just don't. So I don't know. We've only been chatting for 2-3 weeks. It's very preliminary. So whatever.
Yeah. Yeah, no need to make any decisions about it now. Anyway,
no. However, old Johnson would have been much more. Where is this going? What are we doing? Is this going to go anywhere? Is there a future here? New Johnson 2.0 is definitely much more. I'm open to new experiences, and I will see where the universe takes me.
By the way, that's yesterday's Johnson versus today's Johnson, just for a more relative perspective on that. It's not like, yes, this is a developing story. I would still say you're in
it is a developing story.
Alpha, maybe. You're maybe 2.0. You're maybe 2.0 alpha.
More like 1.3 version 1.3.
Maybe, that's exciting to be talking to someone new, and that's good.
Just another experience, another adventure.
Yep, exactly.
Something new to report in the realm of dating.
That is good. Yeah.
What about you? Have you and Dennis made any advancements in the adoption process? Do you know when you go to Africa yet?
No, we're not there yet, but we do have our date with the USCIS.
What's that?
The Customs and Immigration Services.
Okay.
So that's good. So our application is moving.
Because you're like importing a child, technically.
Yes.
You have to bring them through customs.
Yes. Essentially, we have to. I'm going to say emigrate. I don't know if that's the right word, but we are going to emigrate with our kid. And yes, so.
You actually have something to declare. Usually, when I go through customs, I'm like, I have nothing to declare. Nothing to declare. Don't look at me. In this case,
Correct.
You actually do have something to declare.
Yes, we will have something to declare, but
and it's more than just some exotic fruits and vegetables,
right? Which are not actually allowed into the U.S. So.
Right.
Yes. Yep. So we have our application, our biometrics stuff, interview, whatever it is. In a couple of weeks. So that was exciting to get. And that's really all the updates.
Speaking of, I finally, as you know, but for our listeners, I finally went and applied for TSA PreCheck. They scanned my fingerprints. They were having a hard time with fingerprints. I don't know. Maybe I'm a vampire. I'm not sure. I don't have fingerprints. But she was like, "What's wrong?" I was like, "I don't know." It took literally 6-7 tries to get my fingerprints. The device would just not recognize my fingers. It was tough.
Yeah, I've had that happen a couple of times because this will be So all the other fingerprinting has been done at a third-party place, right? So. This is the first time that we're actually going to an official government office to get our fingerprints done. So,
right.
So there's that. And, other than that, we are planning one more vacation before we go. We're going to Roatan and one of the Costa
countries.
Where's
Roatan?
It's a country in Central America.
Oh.
Yeah.
I didn't even know that. I don't know it. I'm not familiar.
I've been there before. It's a really lovely country and lovely.
What's there? What are the highlights?
It's nature, Johnson. It's nothing you would be interested.
Oh, it's in Honduras.
Okay. Oh, yes. So it's off the coast of Honduras, right?
Oh God. Do you need malaria pills?
No.
Sure.
No. No, it'll be fine. But so getting back to your TSA PreCheck, though, I think Dennis and I should probably investigate that just to help the process.
Oh my God. It was much easier than I thought it would be. Literally, the online application took me a few minutes. And then when I went there, it was just Staples at around Penn Station. It was literally less than 10 minutes. She just asked me some questions and took my fingerprints, and that was it.
Oh, okay. Good to know. So that's something for Dennis and I to talk about. I think we both have a credit card that would probably cover that.
Yeah, do it.
Yeah. So nothing more to report on that. But
what is that in the background? Is that the dog?
Yes.
Or is that Dennis?
No, that's the dog. He's got his phone on our wooden floor. So yes, that is that is him playing with the bone because I'm on Zoom and this is what he does when I'm on the phone. So
does he know not to bother you, or that you're not gonna?
No, I mean it's not. You can't really explain that to the dog.
Well, no, because I feel that sometimes the dog could tell, like, okay, he's not going to pay attention to me right this second.
No, he's well, I mean, he's sort of entertaining himself, so we want to leave it at that. That's important because otherwise he'd want to be on my lap. So we're gonna live with the noise and let him do that while we record. And I apologize. I don't really think I can get that out of the recording.
No, you can't. It's over.
So I apologize, but it's slightly better than having him want to sit on my lap. So
slightly better.
So yeah, that is the noise in the background. Apologies, dear listener.
Yeah, I was just like, what is that? That's fine.
So yeah. So shall we talk about some Star Trek news?
Yes, mainly that there isn't that much Star Trek news, particularly with the writer strike and the SAG-AFTRA strike. So there's a lot of striking going on. I think the writers were going back to AMTMP on Friday, but I haven't heard anything of significance. And honestly, the actor strike I have no idea. I think it's going to go on for a while. It's just, yeah. I did hear, we were not at SCLV, but I did hear that a good number of actors showed up, and for the most part, it was fine. Like I think the only one what I heard any sort of tea spilled was with Robert Beltran.
Oh, really? What did you hear?
That he actively ignored the strike rules, and he just talked about Star Trek.
Oh, wow.
But okay, so this is something I don't know. I need to further investigate because I don't know much about Robert Beltran, but he's kind of like very right wing, and apparently I haven't done my research. So for our listeners that know more, please don't crucify me. But apparently he's very right wing, and he was like, "We live in a free country, First Amendment, like we can talk about whatever we want." And apparently there was some negativity around that.
Interesting. Yeah.
Which I did not know about Robert Beltran until more recently. So that was interesting.
That is interesting.
Yeah.
Well, I think everyone I saw photos from, and a lot of cosplaying, which some amazing cosplayers.
Of course.
So that's always good. I didn't actually see a whole lot with the actors. I did.
Were they allowed to take photos of people? They weren't, right? They could.
I think so. Yeah.
Yeah.
I think
can't talk about it.
Yeah. So
I would say the most interesting thing that came out of SCLV, at least for us, because we were on the sidelines and we weren't there, was the 2-minute preview from Prodigy Season 2. Which, when I saw, I got very excited, and then I messaged you about it. But I was very excited for that.
Yeah, it was. I've watched it a couple of times. It's sort of hard to shift your thinking again back to Prodigy, because Prodigy sort of requires a little bit of different eye to watch Star Trek through.
Right. And you were like, before we started recording, you were like, what year does it happen in? I was like...
Yeah, there's a whole confusion about like timing and everything, and I thought it was closer to the whole Romulan star blowing up and the attacks on Mars, but apparently this happens before then.
Yeah.
So I thought it was a little bit closer in time. But anyway, but it's also like you have to get in the headset of, okay, it's a bunch of kids who aren't yet cadets, but who are under Admiral Janeway's kind of wings and
tutelage.
Yes. So just a conversation between the kids, and how, it's a very kid like conversation, and then the Doctor shows up and
kid forward. Yeah.
So there's some nice back and forth there, and
Robert Picardo, I said to you, Robert Picardo has not lost a beat. He sounds like he has for the last 20 years.
Yeah, I mean, if you watch his Instagram, he sounds pretty much the same.
Yeah.
And his videos. But Yeah, and then we get to see the star of the show, which is the Voyager A, which is exciting.
Yeah.
And I was actually paying really close attention to the shuttle as it landed, and saw the number, saw 74656-A on the side. And so it's like, yes, we're going to the Voyager A. So,
the actual on the registration
on the shuttle
itself.
Yeah, it had Voyager's number on the side, both, and they showed it twice. Or they showed an angle that showed the number twice. So if you're you us adult Star Trek fans will have picked up on that probably right away.
I didn't even look at the registry number.
Oh, well, all right.
Yeah.
So you were surprised. So I was not surprised.
No, I wasn't surprised because I think it was spoiled. Like, because I think I read Insta post that said first look at Prodigy Season 2 and the Voyager A. So I was like, okay.
Okay. All right.
Yes.
So yeah, she's a mighty big ship. She's much, much bigger than Voyager.
Yeah, Voyager was so small.
It was small.
Yeah,
and we were talking about this before we started recording, which you didn't also know. They kind of run through some of the stats, but one of the stats that kind of gives you an idea of how big this is the number of crew, which is 810.
Yeah, that's a lot.
So it's a big ship.
Yeah.
Because I think 0 is kind of reading down the stats or whatever to everyone.
Got it. Yeah, I don't.
I think it was 0, but so she's a big ship. She looks a lot like the front of her looks like the Voyager, right?
Yep. Yeah.
And then the bottom sort of looks like the armored version of Voyager.
I need to look at it again. I just remember the nacelles were very different looking.
Well, they sort of look like the Enterprise E nacelles, but armored. So but again, it's a cartoon versus, animation. It's an animated version of the ship versus anything that we would see live action. So which we did not see in any form, way, shape, or form in Picard at all. So this was complete, this type of ship, which is like a special class of ship. I don't know.
Lamar.
Yeah.
Lamar class.
So yeah. So she looks on the outside looks beautiful. I like the interiors that we've seen so far, and I'm excited to see what the bridge of this big starship looks like.
I know. I'm excited for it. It sounds like the Hegelmans are hopeful. It sounds like they're very positive that they're going to find a new platform to stream it on. So
yeah, let's hope so. Happens. I was actually surprised at how at them being able to bring a clip to STLV. So
I don't know. I mean, Paramount Plus isn't talking about Prodigy anymore, so
I just meant it's not an officially licensed convention, right? So
well, there's also what other licensed conventions are there? Is the cruise the only thing that's still officially licensed?
I think so, yeah, probably,
because we're not getting like an official non-cruise convention,
right? Yeah, that's true.
After Seattle, Seattle was canceled,
right? So there we go.
They should just give the license back to Creation. Like at this point, it's kind of like whatever. It's kind of silly.
Yeah. Well, maybe they will. Who knows?
Because everyone isn't doing anything with it. So.
Oh yeah. Well,
what are you gonna say? Sorry.
No, I don't remember what I was gonna say, but yeah. So it looks like everyone had a good time though, and yeah. Meanwhile, I was drinking wine in upstate New York. So,
yes, you were on vacation. I was not on vacation. I was working.
You were on vacation the weekend before.
Yes, I was in Puerto Rico. Oh my God, it's too hot. Yes. I was dying.
But you are alive, so you didn't actually die.
I was dying. I didn't die. So, not to be dramatic or anything.
Oh no, never. You never be dramatic. So.
Never.
So I think that's all the news we have to talk about, though, right?
Yeah, I don't think there's much else in the way of news items, to be honest. Because again, with the strike and things like that, I mean, we have Lower Decks coming out early September. Season 5 is definitely happening. We know that. But that's
I did hear an interesting thing about Lower Decks is that part of the reason why I think they're getting renewed, and I love the show, so I'm totally happy that they are, but they are probably the only show. I think I heard this somewhere. I heard this in another podcast. They're the only show that stays on budget and stays on time. So they literally deliver everything on budget every time. So that's why they're continuing to get renewed. So that was kind of interesting.
It's just that, yeah, that totally makes sense because the amount of post-production on a show like Lower Decks is definitely not as intense as any of the live action or even Prodigy. Because it's a post-production, I think, that really gets you. Like the reshoots, things like that, in terms of budget. And then they start to balloon. And then over time, I think a more 2D animated show like Lower Decks is much easier to control.
Yeah.
And output.
But it's great to hear that they have a 5th season coming. So that's great.
Yeah. And, well, hopefully not the last. I think Bill's thinking that it's going to be the last. I'm hoping it's not. I hope there's more.
Yeah.
But Bill from Trek Geeks, for those of you that are like, who's Bill?
Yeah.
He's our executive producer.
Yeah.
But he and Dan have theorized that Lower Deck season 5 might be the last. And I think he even pessimistically thinks that Strange New World season 3 will be it. But I don't think so, personally. I think it's too big of a show for Paramount Plus if the Nielsen numbers are any indication.
Yeah, let's hope so. Although maybe 5 is the new 7, as it were.
Maybe.
So, but we'll see what happens. Yeah. All right.
Cool. All right. Well, this week we're going to talk about the last 2 episodes of Strange New World Season 2, Subspace Rhapsody and Hegemony. I literally had to spell out Hegemony phonetically to make sure that I'm saying it correctly. It's not something that is in my vernacular. So there we are.
Well, and they are the last 2 live action episodes that we will see this year
for a while. Well, until we get. They also show. I'm sorry. They also show. Whoops. They also show like the 5 minutes of Discovery at SNW.
That was. Did they?
Yeah, I think so. Was that before?
That was at Comic-Con.
That was a Comic-Con. Oh my god. That's right. We talked about the last episode. Oh my god. Time means nothing.
Yes.
Time means nothing. Oh my god. Okay.
Yep.
It's over. That was a while ago.
So why don't you remind our dear viewers about what Subspace Rhapsody was all about?
Okay. Well, Subspace Rhapsody we first heard about we talked about it during our last episode because we just heard about it. Haha. But courtesy of Memory Alpha, an accident with an experimental quantum probability field causes everyone on the USS Enterprise to break uncontrollably into song. But the real danger is that the field is expanding and beginning to impact other ships, allies and enemies alike. Mike, was there ever a time in your life where you felt so many feelings that you want to burst into song?
No, I don't think so. But
Really?
No.
Oh, really? You have so many more feelings than I do, though.
I do, but I'm an introvert, so I experience them internally. So
how about what about like a solo in your quarters? Like,
a la Lon. I mean, if I were affected by a subspace field or whatever, maybe I would break out into song, but it would be behind closed doors, indeed.
Behind closed doors. So, was there a moment recently or in your life that you feel like that could have happened to you?
Oh, plenty. I mean, plenty of things have happened in my life. So, I've had, multiple breakups and messy situations. So, yeah, sure, of course.
So usually are they like sad moments or happy moments?
I would say probably sad moments, but I think starting to realize, and I think Dennis and I talked about this at one point, we need to start celebrating just the small wins.
Yeah.
The small things that, the small, just the small things. We need to, like we got our letter from USCIS. So we should celebrate that, or just, things like that. So, But, I feel like, just like Lon experiencing all those emotions about Kirk, and, I also felt like she was sort of jealous of number one, singing and dancing with them.
I thought that was interesting. I couldn't tell if it was jealousy or pure concern that, I don't want my feelings to be coming out like they are doing, like what's happening to them. At first, I thought it was a little bit of jealousy, but then I was like, she might just be concerned.
Maybe. I mean, that could be. I think I got the jealousy vibe, but probably because the next scene after her quarters is her and Pike going up to the bridge and saying how this is a security risk. So. Right. And then it poses a security risk, which it
does.
When
she shuts down.
Where she shuts down the Pike Batel communication. So,
right.
So there's a lot of controversy about this whole episode, right? Because
wait, do I get to share or do you want to move on?
Oh no! Oh yeah, no. I'm segueing into getting your opinion. So.
Oh, okay. Then continue. Yeah. I was like, you're ready to move on to the episode summary.
No, not at all. No, I'm going backwards. Actually, I'm going backwards to say that I think there's a lot of controversy about there being a musical episode. People had very mixed feelings, strong feelings one way or the other. And as we said last time when the news came out, we're not musical gays, so we aren't. However, so on the first go, I was watching it and I didn't really vibe for it initially. And Dennis was watching the first part of it with me, and he was saying, "This is kind of weird, isn't it?" And I was like, "Yeah, kind of." And then it, I felt like it got better, or maybe it was just, I felt like it got better throughout the episode. And I was like, okay, that's what it was. And then I listened to some other podcasters talk about it, and so I went back and watched it again, and I actually enjoyed it on second viewing. I think once you understand the nature of musicals, and the fact that it does, like, song is what brings out emotion and like reveals character traits and things like that, like. It made a lot of sense. Like, this is a heavy character development episode.
Sure.
Really.
Yeah.
But I did not necessarily like it the first go around, or I thought it was like, could do without, could do with or without. But then upon second viewing, I was like, all the things that happen in it, even though some of them are, some of it is through music, really does set up like the finale. It does set up or just resolve some interpersonal issues or whatever it was. So those are my, initial thoughts. So you've watched it twice, correct?
Oh, I was going to go back to my initial question which was, have I ever wanted to burst into song?
Well, one, you don't have feelings, so I would assume that.
You're just assuming yes. No. So going to answer my own question, no, I would say for the most part, probably not. Okay. Probably not. I would say the last time I got really excited about something, I'm trying to think about it, was probably when I got my current job. When I got a new job, it was exhilarating. Yeah. And I think that it was, there were just many feelings about like new opportunity, future, things like that, and I think that that would be a good one.
Okay. All right. Wow. So, all right. I was concerned before about the whole vampire comment and not being able to read your fingerprints, but I guess this confirms.
Vampires have feelings. If you ever watch Hello, did you not watch Vampire Diaries? We talked about this. If anything, they have too many feelings.
Oh, maybe. But
Damon had to turn his feelings off, remember?
I don't remember. But
okay, anyway. Well, Paul Wesley had a lot of feelings, and his brother Damon had too many feelings, so he just turned them off or something like that, and yada yada yada. I mean, it's been a while since I watched Vampire Diaries.
So please share. All right, beyond that, what were your first feelings about this whole thing?
So I also watched it twice, and I think this episode was fine. I did not hate it. I did not love it. It was kind of in the middle. And I do have to say that I enjoyed it. Similar to you, I enjoyed it more upon second viewing. But I also found my overall opinion of it remain unchanged, which I thought that, personally, I just thought that it was, like, the music was middling. It was kind of mediocre. I didn't think the music was that good. I'm not, and similar to what you're saying, I'm not a big Broadway musical person, but there are a few musical movies that I've been really into, like La La Land, Moulin Rouge, Chicago, which I know is I haven't seen the show, but obviously it's based on the show. But really strong melodies, really catchy. It sticks with you. I do agree with you that it was a very character development heavy episode. But I just thought a lot of the songs are like blah. Like, my favorite songs were probably the first song. Is it something peculiar? Like, I don't remember.
Why am I singing?
What? No, is the very first song? Is that the name of the song?
I actually.
Well, they also singing the very first song where it was an ensemble piece, the finale, and then I liked Nurse Chapel's song "I'm Ready," which he sings in the mess hall.
Right.
And I thought those were the strongest songs. I thought that a lot of the songs were just very like, rah. Like, there were a few like really like Una's song where she sang it to La'an in her quarters was terrible. It was awful. Like, it was so bad. And then she turns up the gravity for like 30 seconds. I'm like, to what end? I mean, I don't understand why she turned up the gravity.
Oh, when they were talking in the ready room or whatever. Or
I think it was in the quarters. Or was it in the ready room? Or in the
it was in the conference room. Yeah, it was in
that song was awful. It was so bad. And then I just remember this is on the second viewing too. There were some songs I was like, okay, this is like trudging along. I just started checking my phone. It was just there were just songs that, and I did not like Spock solo. I'm the X. I thought I did not enjoy it. I understand that there was some cleverness behind the lyrics, but I was like, oh, this is such a bad song. Okay. So anyway, I think overall my issue with it was that I just didn't think the music was good. Like, I just didn't think it was like a very, like, I don't think the musical composition was very interesting, very catchy. If I was to compare it to Buffy or to the Flash and Supergirl crossover, where they also had a musical episode, because Grant Gustin and Melissa Benoit are big. They're both on Glee. Like, they're like really, really talented singers. I just think that I thought just the music was just not good. Like, that was my main issue with it. I tried to enjoy, I did enjoy it more the second time I watched it. Because I think the first time I watched it, I was like, oh, what song are they going to sing now? Oh, what song are they going to sing now? So I was like, there was a little bit of that the first time. And the second time I was like, okay, I'm not thinking about that. But yeah, I just thought it was like mediocre.
Okay. I mean, I thought that there were a couple of maybe misses on the music, but I don't remember, this hasn't happened since, but I was sort of humming one of the melodies or whatever, walking to work one day or whatever. I don't know.
Oh, really?
Or doing something. I was out walking and I was sort of humming one of them, but but it is. I agree with you. It's very polarizing. Like, everything I've heard about this episode is like either you love it or you hated it. Very few in betweens. We're sort of in between. I mean, I think I lean more on more on the good camp. It was good. Mm-hmm. I think it was. I don't know that I've ever seen this, but I felt like some of it was very Pirates of Penzance.
What's that? Pirates of what?
Penzance?
What's that?
It's I believe it's a musical. Again, not but it's sort of like very ship based. Like you're on the. I don't know. I just got very. Actually reminded me a lot of Hamilton in some ways. Like I really enjoyed. I've never seen Hamilton in person. I've watched it. I want to say twice on Disney. So,
okay.
And I've really enjoyed that. So, I think on second viewing, I enjoyed it much more. There were more catchy songs. Did love the number in the bar. I thought that was really,
Nurse Chapels.
Really well done. Yeah, Nurse Chapels, Jess Bush's performance. The one with the private conversation and the connect to your truth number ones and Pike's songs were just, I think, very like humorous and like that sort of.
Well,
very
Una's
musical.
song was not. Oh wait. Oh, you're talking about the one Una and Paul and
Paul,
Kirk.
Yeah.
When they were dancing in the hallway.
Yes.
That was okay. That was okay.
Just before, Christina Chong's solo about what would that feel. So, anytime Celia sang, I thought was amazing.
She's good. Yeah.
She's really
her solo was good. Like it was. She's a good singer.
I thought it was really good, and then we had the finale, which was just very obviously like musical finale. Yes,
right. And the Klingons was that was a highlight for me.
Oh, that was hilarious. Actually. That was hilarious.
Yeah, that was my favorite part of the whole episode.
But I thought I enjoyed it more on second viewing, and I would say that if I wanted a light, fun episode. Because the other thing about this is that the storyline still carried through. Like there was a scientific problem. It was very Star Trek-y in that way. Like it was a very like we created the problem, we need to fix it. Here's how we fix it. We got to figure it out. So a lot of that
like the scientific explanation for it.
Yeah. Yes. So yeah, I thought it was enjoyable, and I would actually go back and watch it again. I it's not one that I will consider skipping. Certainly not in this season's arc of things, because in the finale we don't we're done with character development. Like we're like we're here for the Borg.
Well,
we're here for the Borg.
For the Gorn.
For the Gorn.
Right.
So it did resolve a lot of different things. And,
well, one question I have for you. I feel like we can talk about this for a little bit. I wanna dig into all the Spock and Chapel relationship drama, and I want to get your thoughts on their dating arc. How you feel? I know we're not talking about the season as a whole, but obviously there's been a lot of setup for this relationship. They finally got together / consummated. Was it episode 4? The one where Spock became human. Was that episode 4 or 5?
I don't remember. I think it was 5. I want to say,
it might have been 5. And then she basically breaks up with him in this episode. I did want to get your thoughts as to because there's so much of the drama on the ship has been about the two of them. I want your thoughts about that and how you feel that all panned out.
Well, I look at it through a lens of TOS. So, their Spock is much more Vulcan in TOS, and there is this. You can see that there's this care that Christine Chapel has for Spock, or this love. But
I sent you that meme. Did you see it? It's like, why are we not together? It was just like she's still pining after him. Whatever.
Oh, right. Yeah. No, I'm hoping that this is sort of the end of it. I actually really do like that. I like how emotional Spock is about this. I think that's actually Spock is like a teenager in this season, just trying to figure out how to do a relationship. Like it's very like, even though he and T'Pring have been together and now they're taking a break or whatever, I think that, which is also very Vulcan, I think that this is like Spock's teenage moment when he like meets his first girlfriend, and like how for the most part we all know that never really, lasts forever. And
right.
But also I think it's more along the lines of like how you fumble through a relationship when it's your first relationship and you're like trying to understand, like in this case the opposite sex, but you're trying to understand another person and how that is like, it's almost like the alienness of another being when you're first starting out dating, I think is something that is very real. And I think that that's what I've enjoyed most about it, is the things that like that all the women on the ship telling Spock that he's like this and this, like when he lost his Vulcanness in that in episode 5. But I think I've enjoyed it for the most part. I'm hoping that there are points where it's sort of like, do we have to like right. Come on. It was probably to me getting too much, but I think that overall for the most part I've enjoyed it, because it's just it's like a teenage boy. It's sort of like a senior girl dating a freshman boy almost, that sort of thing, where there's this maturity gap, there's this knowledge and experience gap, and the other thing too is, and this isn't, I'm not saying blame it all on Spock, because Christine has not been one who wanted a relationship. In season 1, she was like, she would run away from a relationship. So her infatuation with Spock in season 1 didn't mean that she knew how to be in a relationship or wanted to be in a relationship or knew what that entailed until she got it, and then, fumbling their way through it. But, I think at points it got a little too much. But there were a lot of nice moments, especially in the next episode, where you kind of see when he realizes he's kind of effed up. And
I guess okay.
So obviously you're going to share your feelings now.
Obviously, yes. So first of all, I've definitely talked about like how I feel that Nurse Chapel has not been given enough to do in these last 2 seasons of Strange New Worlds, other than kind of being, pining after Spock. However, that being said, they were technically together for just like 1 episode. Like, so episode 5, they got together. Episode 6, they're kind of good place. And then basically 7, 8, 9, they've been kind of like breaking up. Like, it's like, I'm kind of just like, so they planted the seeds in those old scientists when Boimler kind of tells Christine that, Spock's future's yada yada. So it kind of plants doubts in her mind. Right, and then the war episode, I just don't know what got Chapel to the point where she's like, I don't want to be with you. It's just confusing to me, because like the war episode, basically she just needs some like space, right? Because she was dealing with PTSD. And Spock was like, I don't think Spock did anything wrong. Spock was like, look, like I'm here to talk if you want to talk. And I don't feel he was like necessarily like pushing her. He was showing concern. And he wanted to be there for her, and, Chapel obviously needed space. And that happens with couples. And then this episode, she's going to go on a 3-month stint. And I guess she doesn't want to do long distance. I'm kind of just like, I just didn't know like what is the straw that broke the camel's back here, that she's like, I'm ready to move on / I'm ready to take on my future / it doesn't include you. It was just like, I just didn't really understand.
And you know what I think it is I think it's that perennial decision that is more attributed to women, is that choice of love or career. And things were she was still working through her career, and then she got this opportunity with Roger Corby, which is a throwback to TOS.
Right.
So I think that is that's my thought, is that it's sort of like she made the decision to go with her career and take care of herself. And I'm okay with that. I think that's a fair decision for her and any person in that situation to do. And I think it's also realizing that
but it's also like it's a 3-month fellowship. It's not like a permanent role, and it doesn't mean that it's like Subspace communication exists. It's not like you just got to cut things off. Like if it was like a permanent role, I'm going to get posted on the other side of the galaxy. Like, okay, I can understand why you want to put a pause on things, and it's 3 months. 3 months. It's not like a permanent position,
Yeah.
So it just felt like very hasty to me. Like, and look, I'm not Chapel. I'm not these writers. I've never been in a relationship, like a long-term relationship. So I don't know. But it just seemed, I'll be honest, it just seemed very flaky to me.
Well, that sort of felt like, that feels like the original Christine Chapel that we saw in season 1. When the lieutenant...
But that's also like, 10 years after this? Or how many? Not maybe less. I don't remember how many years.
No. I don't think so. I mean, she was giving Spock advice on Starbase.
Oh, no, sorry. I thought you were talking about TOS.
Oh, no, I wasn't. No. The Roger Corby thing is, a good 6-7 years or whatever.
Yeah, it's not
from now.
It's
No, I was thinking, I think this is the season 1 Christine coming back, where she kind of like realized she has
tied down.
She doesn't want to be tied. Yeah. Like the lieutenant, she like scrammed from that conversation when the lieutenant who she was hooking up with wanted to talk, about where this was going. And she was like, I got to go help my friend.
So she's basically just a commitment phobe.
Maybe. Yeah.
Basically.
Yeah. I mean,
I didn't think Spock did anything wrong. Like, I don't think Spock's at fault. Like, personally.
I mean, I have to go back and watch the rest of the season and pay more close attention to all of that.
It's not that many episodes. Like, literally, there were two.
I know. No.
Like, it's having one episode,
Yeah. No, I don't know. But, yeah, I think that kind of wraps up the conversation with Spock and Chapel.
But I do think, I've expressed this before. It was so much melodrama. I'm like, oh my God. It's like, and I agree with you. I kind of want it to be over. Like, I'm ready for them to kind of do their own things, separate from each other. We're going to talk about episode 10 in a little bit, but like, that was just like, oh my God, it's not over. Like, there's gonna be more. It's fine.
Yeah. No, yeah. Yeah.
So, anyway.
I get it.
Okay, well, I guess that's a good segue unless there's anything else that we wanted to talk about for Subspace Rhapsody.
I think we hit the high points that we wanted to chat about. Let's get into Hegemony. Yeah.
Hegemony. All right. Memory Alpha summary. When the USS Enterprise investigates an attack on colony at the edge of Federation space, Captain Pike and his crew face the return of a formidable enemy.
And that is, yes, formidable enemy indeed. Johnson, what did you think about this episode?
So, I thought this episode was fine. I thought this episode was also okay. Yeah. So I would say, okay, let me take a step back. I feel that the Gorn, as they presented in season 1, the 2 episodes that we got there, which were Memento Mori and All Those Who Wander, I thought those were really well done. Memento Mori, we didn't get to see the Gorn, but it was like this, like, as our listeners and you may recall, it was a submarine Hunt for Red October episode.
Right.
Really good at setting up the suspense, the character stakes, the character reveals. Like it just balanced everything really well when it came to giving us this first glimpse of the Gorn, but then also the impact on the characters. And then All Those Who Wander, as we famously know, is the one where Hammer died. But also in that one, I think they just did a great job. Like, obviously we got the first glimpse of the Gorn live, quote unquote live. And it was a very suspenseful, like very horror kind of like very alien kind of episode. For whatever reason, I can't put my finger on it. Like this episode just did not hit those like suspense points for me. It just didn't quite do it. And I don't know why. It felt very just kind of like things just kind of like plodded along for me for this one. And it just didn't build for me as much as those episodes did. And then by the end I was like, all right, well, I feel most, if not all, of the crew is going to survive. And I know that they're kind of like setting up these stakes. I did think that this episode did have a couple of reveals. Obviously, the Scotty reveal, that was unexpected. I did not expect that.
No, I did not either. Scotty. Yeah.
I was like, what?
Yep.
But yeah, it was fine. I thought it was fine. I think, I think they need to like give James Cameron some money, because literally these Gorn are just way too much of a ripoff of the aliens from Aliens.
Oh, okay.
Between like the prehensile tail, the ridged tail, that's exactly the aliens. So they have this literally the same tail structure. The saliva, like how they look, how they like hunt. The chest bursters are very reminiscent of the baby Gorn. It's just such a ripoff. I kind of almost feel that like they should have done a completely different, because they're really leaning hard into like these are basically, because like literally, I actually watched it with a couple people, and they were not familiar with Star Trek, newbies, and they were like, "What's happening?" I was like, "They're just aliens." I was like, "They're just aliens, like from Alien." And me and another friend, we were like, "They're just pretend that they're like alien from Aliens." And they're like, okay, got it. Because literally, like, the way they quote unquote, impregnate their victims, the way they stalk their victims, it's just like exactly the same. You've watched Aliens, right?
Yeah, of course. Yeah.
Okay. It's been a while.
I understand.
So I just, yeah. So because in this one, we saw the adult Gorn in a spacesuit. Which I guess is different because the alien in the Alien series, they can survive in space. The Gorn cannot.
Right.
And yeah, I don't know. I thought, yeah, I mean, I have more to say, but overall, I thought it was fine. And I just felt the end was also very much, yeah, I was like, oh, it's a cliffhanger. I was like, oh my God, it's so annoying. I was like, and then we're going to have to wait like 2 years for the conclusion. But I thought it was odd that like Pike froze up, and I wonder if that's going to be some sort of character issue in season 3, because we don't really see him freeze up, like, and I don't know if that was literally like him freezing up, and he isn't usually the type to be like indecisive, and literally it was a moment he could not make a decision, and I was like, that's very unlike him. And I wonder if that's going to come back to haunt him in season 3, and that's kind of something he works through or whatever. But I thought that was an unusual character beat for him. Or if they were just doing it for the drama. And I was like, oh my God, whatever. So anyway, that was those are some of my thoughts about this episode. What did you think?
Well, I loved this episode.
That's fine.
Yeah. I wasn't paying attention at the time. I had no idea that I avoided any spoilers. I had, I actually just watched this Wednesday night before it released on Thursday morning for us. And so I had no preconceived notions about it. I just knew that I needed to watch it. And I was surprised by the cliffhanger because I had
I was surprised too. I could see it coming though, because I was like, okay, this is like, there's too many unresolved things. Like there's there's way too many.
But I was caught up in the action. I was caught up in the action and the suspense of it all, and then you sort of feel like when you see all the people in the town and the crew beam up. You're like, oh, okay, we got everybody. We're good. Let's go.
But you noticed that it was like, I noticed right away.
I
saw it. I was like, it's green. I was like, why is it green?
I didn't think about the transporter because they cleverly switched immediately to another transporter scene with Pike and Batel and everyone. Yeah. So the cutaway was enough to hide it because you just beamed up Spock and Chapel. You had then you show the group and they're beamed up, and then you show Pike and Batel and Scotty beam up, and so you kind of lose track of that middle part. I mean, obviously you see it on the second go, but for the most part, I was like, I did not even catch that. Because I really wasn't expecting a cliffhanger, and I was like, we destroyed the thing. Yeah, we were beaming them up. We're getting the heck out of here.
Yeah, I thought, that's just weird. I noticed it, but I didn't make the initial connection that the Gorn beat them up. I was like, that's odd. Why is it a different transport?
So I think Pike's indecision at that very point is very. So it was sort of alluded to at the beginning of the episode, right? He had to Admiral April told him, "Do not engage. Like, sure. You have to like hold your emotions in check." And he sort of went against that with going to rescue Batel,
right?
And so he went against that, and then so he gets her back, and he thinks he gets the crew back, and then doesn't get the crew back,
right?
And Mitchell reminds him, but our crew are down there. And I think that plus like the realization that they're not on the planet, no one's on the planet anymore, all of that, like you just get this, well, what that like, and Starfleet's yelling to get out of there. Sure. So you have three different things like pulling at you. I think that I give Pike the benefit of the doubt that there's a moment there where you're like, what do I do? What do I do? Do I break my orders?
I'm not saying it's easy, but it was kind of like a deer in headlights. Like he literally just, for him, that's very unusual.
Yeah.
And I think, I'm not saying that it's an easy decision, but I think as we all know, captains need to make hard decisions quickly. And for him, I just thought it was unusual for him to literally, it was a deer in headlights moment. Like he was literally just staring at his crew. I'm like, oh my God, man. Just like, obviously there's no good call. Like there's no good decision here. So just go with one. Right. I think that's,
but dilemma. I think, absolutely. I definitely agree that it's a captain's dilemma, but I also think like he's like the people's captain, right? He's like the crew, the captain that everyone loves. And so he knows that he should follow orders and leave those people behind, but he also just asks the entire crew to stay and rescue the members of the Cayuga, whoever they could. And so I think that that's a tough call to make. How do you go one direction?
I'm not saying it's not.
Yeah, so I think that this whole pausing, being caught in the headlights is completely natural, and
I don't think it's unnatural, but I don't think that is an excuse for a captain. Like, I think a captain needs to be able to make a very hard call. There's no perfect answer for this.
No, there isn't. Of course not.
So You just need to, and the captain, like, I think Jamie's really good at this, actually. I don't know why she comes to mind, but for some reason, because she's just faced so many, like, like very impossible decisions when they were in Delta Quadrant. Make the decision and deal with it later. Deal with the ramifications and emotional outcome of those, that decision later.
Right.
Whether it be like 2 Vicks, I know that's famous, but like she's like, just gotta make a call. There's no good call here, so I'm just gonna make a call, and it's on me. And I think a good captain needs to be able to make that kind of decision, especially in a crisis. I'm not saying 2 Vicks was a crisis, but it was a moral dilemma.
Yeah, I mean, I think you're looking for the split-second decision, and I think his ship's getting.
But it is like everyone's in danger. There's like 3-4 like Gorn attack ships like coming after them. Yeah. Like if you stay any long, if you don't make a call, like the ship's gonna blow up. You're gonna lose everyone. You can't just pause. You can't just you can't stop time and deliberate. You gotta just make the call and deal with the decisions, the ramifications of the call later.
Sure. Well, here we are. We'll be discussing this until 2025 before we see the resolution to this and what impact it has. But, I thought this whole episode was suspenseful. I thought, even though we know Chapel lives, I thought it was really good of them not to dig into that until well into the second half of the episode.
Sure. Yeah.
I thought that was really well done. The introduction of Scotty, I thought, Did
you know right away?
What?
Did you know right away that it was Scotty? I was like, that accent is like unmistakable.
I was like, no way. I was like, that can't be. They can't really.
I was like, really?
So that's an interesting development. What I also really like that Sam Kirk's involved in this. I love
he did something useful.
Yes,
instead of being useless and messy.
Yeah, I mean, I don't know. What I really love, one of the many things I love about this show is it's got the character development of Deep Space Nine. It's got it's not just the main, although I still think there's some shades of gray
for the cast, like the ensemble.
For the cast and also the B cast. Yeah. You get some right. We have some B cast members who are getting some development as well. And
I still don't know much about Ortegas, by the way. I still don't know anything. No. I just know she's a pilot. That's all I know. And apparently she's a war hero per Boimler, but I haven't heard anything else about that. Like, we got a little bit of that in the war episode, but other than that, I still know. Like,
she did say that she had done this flight 100 times during the war.
Yeah, but yes, she's a captain. Like, she's a pilot. That's all I know about her. Yeah, I want to know more about Ortegas.
Yeah, of course. Yeah. Hopefully, we'll get more next season.
She's a good pilot.
And I love her, and I don't want anything to happen to her.
Yeah, we know so little about her.
Yeah, but she is one of the people who, isn't in the original series. So at some point, we don't know what her future. We don't know what Ortegas' future is.
Right.
We actually don't even know. We sort of know M'Benga's in the fact that he's no longer at some point CMO.
Right.
So there's that. I forget who else is on the planet, but those two are on the planet. Who else is on the planet? Sam Kirk's on the planet. We know he lives. So
yeah.
It's I don't know. I thought that this episode kept it going the whole, like, it was foot on the gas the whole time.
Mm-hmm.
And I was actually surprised that we saw an adult Gorn. I was really, I know I get your whole alien thing. I get it.
Even the scene where you see the tail come down, I'm like, oh my God. It's like they rip it straight out of the alien movies. It's like, come on. Yeah, that bothered me.
But it also, so there is some intelligence there, right? There is intelligence because they're trying to access the computer. So,
well, yeah, no, the Gorn are intelligent. They built starships, like, of course.
Yeah, of course, yeah, of course. But we don't get to see that very. You can make that assumption, but now you have some other facts to back that up, which are that he's literally trying to access the computer of the Kyoga. So
yeah, I feel that maybe a thing for me is like, so we talked about this too. Like, they tease the Gorn in episode 1 of the season, and then we get this episode. Yeah. I feel that if they gave us more seeds throughout the season, it would have done more for me. And also, what the Gorn want, because we just don't really, they don't talk. They just they're fake.
Well, Scotty brings some of that, right? So Scotty brings some of this information about the science of but
it's like pure hypothesis. He's guessing. He doesn't.
But it's science. It's Star Trek science, and it's interesting that they bring
that,
they bring that in.
But I want to know more about the Gorn side of things, which maybe we'll get in the next episode. What are they looking for? Do they want to be communicating with other races, or do they really just want to be breeding, and using other races purely for breeding purposes?
Well, I think back to the Borg, you didn't really know what their purpose was, except for not extermination, but
until we got the Borg Queen.
What?
Until we got the Borg Queen, you're talking about? We didn't...
Yeah, we didn't really understand, all of the motivations of the Borg except to assimilate.
But I think that's where, but that's any villain. I think that the Borg were very enigmatic at first, and then they started getting a little overused. If...
Right, but here we are. We're in the enigmatic stage of the Gorn. They're still enigmatic, and we don't know a lot about them, and we didn't, we've never learned anything about them. Right. But clearly they've destroyed another Constitution class starship. So, which is, pretty terrifying in and of itself. They destroyed.
And I'm surprised that in itself is not a declaration of war.
It isn't because they're outside of Federation space. Yeah. So the loss of the Kyoga is just like the loss of the Stardiver, Scotty's ship. That they're both outside of Federation space. So there's nothing. It's not a declaration of war unless you're on your own turf, I guess.
Yeah. So. No, I thought that Scotty's some of the hints he gave us was kind of interesting, but I was but I need. I need a voice to the Gorn, or something. I need to know more about what they're after, what do they want. That could make them
maybe get that eventually, but yeah. Right now I'm enjoying the mystery of the Borg, and I'm enjoying the fact that. What did I say? The Borg?
You said the Borg.
I am enjoying the mystery of the Gorn, and. Yes, I want to know more, but I also love having an enemy to the Federation that is equal, if not more deadly. It's more than we can handle as the Federation right now. We can't stop them. It's only because they destroyed the Kyoga and we were able to do all of that, crashing the Kyoga into the planet that we freed, but then the Gorn just beamed up the meat, as it were. So it's I'm okay with the lack of knowing about it. I think having an enemy that's a threat is really interesting. Think of species 8472, another thing that you didn't know a lot about. A threat that was bigger than the Borg. Because the Borg had become sort of mollified a little bit and nullified.
Overused, honestly.
Overused, but also easier to outsmart and figure out, especially with a Borg on Voyager, right?
And no, I don't doubt that. It's just at this point, I'm I need more. Because we already gotten 2 episodes of Gorn. I'm to my admission, I thought those were very good episodes. But I'm I guess I'm personally at a point where I kind of need more to be dropped. Like, this is like a third episode where we're gotten with them that's like they're still very mysterious. And
we're gonna learn whether we can save Batel. We're gonna learn what the solar flares mean or could potentially mean.
Sure.
We're gonna learn that we could potentially hide in plain sight with this transponder. So
I am interested to see the inside of a Gorn ship because we should be getting that.
We should be able to see that. So.
Because I do like their ship designs because they're very different and they're very asymmetrical than compared to Federation ships. So
I mean, I'm here for the Gorn. I'm here for it because I thought this episode was back to front to back, just exciting, well played out, and suspenseful, and I liked it. I thought it was a proper. Like this is and so our 3 months of summer have now become probably at least 18 months of if not 2 years of waiting for the answer to this. So this is modern day version of Best of Both Worlds, where there is we have no resolution. Although I've heard it said, and maybe you and I talked a little bit about this. Like they were already about to film season 3, so
I know
the resolution is probably written.
Oh yeah, no, absolutely. I definitely need to have a plan. For sure, I don't doubt.
Hopefully, once the strike is over, they can just jump right back into production, and our wait will not be as interminable as it feels right now. But that's only if we. I think so too. And
2025.
So we're just gonna have to sit here and debate the hell out of this episode because we have nothing more to go on.
Do you think that Batel's gonna survive?
So
before this episode, I totally thought she was gonna. I thought that was it. I thought the finale. I was like, she's gonna die. Because I feel they were foreshadowing. I was like, oh, she and Pike are too happy. I was like, oh my gosh, she's gonna die. But now I'm like, I'm not sure. Because it'd be weird if she dies the same way that Hammer died. I don't think they're gonna go back to that well. Maybe she. I don't know.
A possibility is that Christine is the one who actually comes up with the solution to what's going on with Batel, which delays her going to this Roger Corby thing, and will keep her on the ship for season 3.
She can just be absent. I don't know, or maybe sometimes they skip months, so it could be
I understand. Yeah, there's all that, and obviously there's so I'm sort of.
What would you put your money on? Live or not live? Batel.
I'm gonna say not live because I think because she's supporting cast, and I think that it's more. I think it would be more important to let her die. From a story writing perspective, I think it would be more effective. Well, from a lot of perspectives, I think keeping Ortegas on the ship and alive versus Batel dead and not in the picture is a better option. And I think I honestly think.
Wait, why Ortegas? Why is Ortegas?
Because we don't know her future. We don't know either one of their futures. But I think Ortegas is Melissa Navia is a main character.
Okay.
And we want her to come back. But we need to show the deadliness and how this impacts Pike and the crew overall. So rather than losing
but we already got that from Hammer. We already know that they're deadly.
But here's the thing: Hammer made the choice. This is the other thing that Pike and Batel kind of go back and forth with, which I agree with. Hammer didn't give them a chance to try to do something. He just gave up and said, I'm going to kill myself. And so I think that there's a little bit more to that. He didn't give the choice, and Pike wants her, So
yeah. I think she's going to live. I think they're going to, I think Chapel's going to use, now that they can scan for Gorn DNA or whatever, she will be able to, because that was one of their issues before. They couldn't detect the Gorn. So now that they have the technology, theoretically, you could probably input the rounders into a transporter.
I don't want her to die. I don't want her to die.
You think from a narrative standpoint,
I think someone has to die. I think that there needs to be an outcome other than all the crew of the Cayuga, which is not personal to us as viewers of Strange New Worlds. I think someone needs to. I feel like someone's going to die.
So I think where this is going personally, and this is also going back to what I was saying about the Gorn and us understanding the Gorn more, is that I think that the next episode, or maybe shortly after that, there's some sort of like uneasy peace with the Gorn. I think that it resolves into like they're not at war, but it's kind of like a Klingon kind of situation where it's kind of like, all right, you leave us alone, we'll leave you alone, or something like that. I think as a result of that, I think that she's gonna live. Maybe the Gorn actually like fine, we'll do something, or they use their technology or whatever. But I think that's where it's going. And in that vein, we also learn more about what the Gorn want, their motivations, and there's still a lot of mystery with them. But I think there's some sort of like uneasy truce or something like that.
Okay, all right, well.
But we'll see in 2 years.
We'll have to come back to this debate.
And I was saying, like, Trump could be president again. Who knows what's going to happen in the world in the next 2 years.
Maybe the Gorn can come here and feed on.
A lot can happen, honestly, before the next season of Strange New Worlds comes out.
Yes, that is true. So overall, I love this episode, and I think it'll go down as a major episode in the pantheon of Star Trek.
Okay. No, I thought it was okay.
Yeah. And you thought it was okay? Well, there we go.
Yeah. Cool. All right. I know we're not talking about the season as a whole, but one note that I will say about this episode as well as, which kind of is season-long observation as well, and I guess is also relevant to the whole Scotty thing, is I feel they really underused Carol Kane. I feel she got very little airtime for all the PR excitement that was around her character. And not to say, like, I get there's enough cast members, but I'm kind of like, it's kind of similar. Like, I feel they underused Hemmer. I feel they underused, like, Carol Kane, Pelia. I'm like, why? She could have done more. Like, but that's one thing. Because she got some snippets in this episode, in the musical episode, but I feel that there could be just more Carol Kane.
I don't disagree. I think the important distinction here is that she's still supporting cast. And
sure, no, I get it.
I think that there's some of that. Hemmer was actually the main cast. She has always been at the end of the credits. Sure. She's never been in the main credits like Hemmer was, like Bruce Horwath. The way that I see this playing out is the development of Scotty through Carol Kane, and her preparing him to be a chief engineer.
Right,
so right. I can see
he like interns or something with her.
Yeah. So I think
more cast members. Oh, great.
Well, I mean, we're slowly moving towards that timeline of the original series. So, Kirk's now, I want to say he's first officer in the Farragut, or he's going for first officer in the Farragut. So
he just got it. He's I think he's officially first officer.
So, So there's that.
Who do you think is the next TOS character they're going to introduce?
I mean, we're running out. So we have,
I know, right?
We have Bones and Sulu. Chekhov is fresh out of the academy.
Chekhov is later.
Yeah, much later. So, I'll say this: if Ortegas does not survive the season premiere, then I would say Sulu.
Oh, that's interesting.
Also, Mabanga, depending on the outcome of the season premiere, could mean a new CMO.
It doesn't even need to be season premiere. I'm like, oh, well, like, next one. It could be like, I feel like they're introducing like a new original character, like TOS character, like at least once a season. So we got Kirk, obviously, in season 1. We got Scotty in this season.
Yeah. Man, it's I think we'll probably get Bones, but I don't know.
Yeah. I was thinking Bones too.
And I think it's not only because Mabanga is on the Gorn ship, but I think also because I think that something's going to come out about the whole Klingon war, and I think that plus whatever happens on the Gorn ship is going to precipitate perhaps a change in the chief medical officer.
Interesting. Okay.
So we'll see. I don't know.
We'll see.
But I'm looking forward to it whenever we get it.
I know, right?
But I do, I will be as patient as possible because I want the actors and the writers to have the right contract that's right for them.
Oh yeah, for sure. No, that needs to be worked out.
I do think that I'm going to go slightly political. I do think we're on the cusp of some real hard fighting against capitalism and the overcapitalization of people as resources. So, take as long as you need, because I think the pain needs to be real and for these CEOs and etc. So
I know, yeah, it's kind of suboptimal,
but, especially when you see the numbers. When you see the numbers,
that the C-suite gets paid.
Yep. So there's that number. There's the amount that they would have to give up to meet all the demands of SAG-AFTRA. And what's the third number that I'm thinking of? The 87% of SAG-AFTRA members earn less than $26,000 and don't even qualify for healthcare. So those three numbers are pretty damning as far as I'm concerned. So I think this is going to go on for a while. So I think we're going to, we're probably going to have to rewatch. Well, I'm in the middle of Deep Space Nine, but we'll probably have to pick some other classic Trek shows to talk about.
We've done it before. Yeah.
Oh yeah. No, I know we have. Yeah. So, because this is the last live action and we don't know when Discovery is going to come out. And I'm and I'll say this, I don't, so they record like things like, which I have not watched the Ready Room. I'm way behind in the Ready Room.
Okay.
I know that they record these way in advance.
Yes.
And my hope is, that there weren't anything made or recorded for Discovery. Because that
are you talking about, behind the scenes Ready Room stuff?
Yep. Yeah, I'm hoping that none of that got recorded before before the strike started, because then that's going to hold that whole Discovery arc, because they're not going to have any supporting material to use except the episodes themselves as promos. So that is what I'm hoping has happened. I'm sure that there's probably some out there, but I'm hoping that there wasn't a whole lot of but we'll see. I don't know. It's hard, we won't get that answer. I know Will Wheaton probably wouldn't give us that answer, but I'm hoping that there's not a lot of B-roll and stuff in the camera for them to do promos on Discovery, so that we
can probably get imaginative with it. To be honest, there's probably a lot of stuff on the cutting room floor that they can use to do featurettes or something like that. Maybe. Honestly, I don't know how influential the Ready Room is in terms of actual promotion of new content.
Well, so the way I look at it is those are the interviews that they can put out there where the stars actually talk about the material.
Sure. Yeah.
That's what
true.
I'm talking about. It. And that's the promotion that I think that's the kind of promotion that like
right.
Paramount.
So none of the stars can do any interviews. No press. No press at all.
Yeah.
It's not just random to any of it.
Right.
That's why that's
what I'm hoping for. That's why I'm hoping for this.
So a lot of movies are being pushed to next year because of that, because they can't, cast can't do press. So I think, like Craven the Hunter was pushed. They're thinking of pushing Dune Part 2 to next year. They're already starting to do that because they want the cast to be actually able to promote. So,
well, the way to do that is to pay the money,
sure,
and the strike. So
no, it's interesting.
And the thing is, that when these movies are held, that means that they're holding back. They're essentially holding back profits,
right? They're holding back profits
because So at some point, it's going to be.
It's just that's the thing. It's like the thing is who can wait out longer, right? The studios or
right?
That's.
I think I'm hoping that the stock market will be the driving force for studios.
Yeah,
for the AMT, TMP. So
it's going to take a while.
All right.
Anyway, cool.
We shall see.
So I think that wraps it up for these 2 episodes. We might do a season recap.
Yeah, I'm gonna have to go back and watch some of these again. It's been a while.
It's been a minute. It's been a hot minute, but yeah, we can do that. And then Lower Decks is from around the corner too.
Yeah, that's true. Lower Decks is about 3 or 4 weeks away. So
yeah,
yep,
cool. And basically, which means summer's almost over.
All right, stop it. I don't want to talk to you about this. You know that I don't want to talk about this.
So anyway, there we are. Mike, do you want to talk a little bit about our sponsor?
I do. Fansets is the premier sponsor of Deep Space Pride and the Trek Geeks podcast network. And I am just scrolling through fansets.com right now, and they released a lot of pins at STLV, and so we'll hopefully see some new releases very soon. But more recent, the ones that are up here right now as of this recording. So we have a David Ajala signed pin. We have Chakotay from the universe of Trek. We have Jonathan Archer from that. And I think all the other ones I've talked about before. So there's only a couple of new ones, as well as you can get an original series commemorative acrylic display with all the cast in a really nice what is it, the gateway, what is the gateway called,
Guardian Forever?
Thank you, the Guardian Forever.
Oh my, I was like, what are you talking about?
The gateway. Okay. So that's also here on Fansets, but there were a ton of new pins released at STLV, which is really one of the few reasons that I am bummed about not being there to see it. But certain people have shared. Dan picked up a bunch of our other executive producer picked up a bunch of magnetic pins, and so there are some really nice ones coming. So make sure to head on over to fansets.com. Look at the new releases. Look at all their releases. They've got all kinds of pins from many different fandoms. So head on over there, check them out, put a bunch of pins in your cart. If you're in the US and you spend more than $30, which honestly is very easy to do, you're going to get free shipping. But on top of that, if you use the code TrekGeeks, all one word, you're going to get 10% off your order. And we want to thank Fansets for being the premier sponsor of Deep Space Pride and the Trek Geeks podcast network.
Thanks, Fansets. Cool. Well, we would love to hear from everyone, whether it's about these 2 episodes or season 2 of Stranger Worlds as a whole. And you can reach us on Twitter and Instagram at DSpacePride, or you can also email us at dspacepride@gmail.com. Cool. Otherwise, I think that does it for this episode. Mike, anything else to leave our viewers with, our listeners with? There are no viewers.
No viewers.
No viewers.
No. Yeah. This has been fun to talk about it. I'm sad that we have a long time to wait.
I know. It's over.
But it'll be worth it in the end.
Cool.
So, right. Yeah, let us know what you think, and we'll talk to you all soon.
Thanks, everyone.
Bye.
Bye.
Deep Space Pride is a production of Coconut Media Works. Executive producers Bill Smith and Dan Davidson. For more great Star Trek discussion, discover the other shows of the Trek Geeks Podcast Network at trekgeeks.com, or find us in Apple Podcasts, Spotify, or your favorite podcast app.
Coconut.